What's up, everybody? DJ Bucky here with Move the Sticks. And Bucky, part of our 2016 Division Preview Series here. We're looking at the AFC North today, and we do this with a scouting index. We're going to go through different positions for the division, and we're going to rank them 1 through 4, who's best, who's worst. It kind of works as a golf game, so at the end, low score wins. We'll see if we can't find out who we believe is the favorite based on talent in this division. But the 6 categories we're going to look at are what?
It's all about personnel. So how about quarterback, skill positions, offensive line, front 7, secondary, and then last but not least, you have to talk about the coaching.
Yeah, and this is a combined thing. It's like we're in a draft room here. Bucky might not agree with me on some things. I might not agree with him. But we've put our heads together. We've made some compromises, and we've come up with our list. What do you say we start at the quarterback position, and we work 4 through 1? AFC North. So we're going to end up with who we think is the best at this position in the division. The Cleveland Browns got to be number 4, Bucky.
They have to be number 4 because they just now named RG3 the starter. And the last time we saw RG3, he was having a tough time on the field. I know there's a lot of belief and confidence in Hugh Jackson. Can he fix RG3? But right now in that division, he has to be 4th behind those other 3 quarterbacks that already established as starter.
Andy Dalton, the numbers have been good, and Hugh Jackson's getting a lot of praise for that, but let's give Andy Dalton some credit as well. He continues to get better. We still have him at number 3 for the Bengals, and then right in front of him at number 2, we have Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco coming off the torn ACL, but prior to the ACL injury, he's still playing at a high level. They need more pass catchers and weapons around him, but we've seen him lead the Baltimore Ravens to a Super Bowl. I'm willing to put him right behind.
Number 1 was easy for us. Not much debate here. Ben Roethlisberger, clearly the guy, Bucky, for what he can do inside the pocket. Still, as he gets older, can still improvise and make plays outside. I know they've got some weapons around him. Going to miss Martavis Bryant. Going to miss Lev Bell for a couple games. But I still think Ben Roethlisberger, he's that straw, stirs the drink.
He absolutely is. You talk about a guy going from being a game manager to a franchise quarterback and a playmaker. Big Ben is really the blueprint that young quarterbacks can follow. He is certainly the guy that makes everything happen for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, so that's the quarterback. Let's move on now to the skill positions, and we start at number 4 in this division, the Baltimore Ravens. To me, they could end up being a little bit better than this, but you've got a lot of injured guys. You've got Steve Smith coming back off injury. Dennis Pitta, hopefully he's going to be all right. I like the addition there of Ben Watson, the tight end, but I still think in this division, if you look at health and all those factors, they come at number 4.
Yeah, I think they have to come in at number 4. Justin Forsett coming back helps them, but they still are noticeably behind other teams. And I think the team that is surprisingly in front of them, the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, explain that, by the way. People might think we're crazy here, but I think the Browns do have a do nice little pieces.
I think they do have nice little pieces. We'll go to the backfield. I think Isaiah Crowell and Duke Johnson is going to be a nicer tandem than most people envision. Corey Coleman being a big-time draft pick coming in to help them.
He went off in their scrimmage the other night.
Absolutely fast.
How about the tight end? Gary Barnidge.
Gary Barnidge. And then 2 wild cards for them. I know everyone will talk about Josh Gordon. Terrell Pryor.
Oh, there you go. Big man.
Big man. Made the conversions, beginning to make plays. That's why they're number 3.
Now, this was a debate here, and I went back and forth on this between the Bengals and the Steelers. Ended up going with the Bengals at number 2. I know they lost some receivers with Sanu and Marvin Jones in the offseason. We're both bullish on the rookie out of Pitt and putting him in there, Tyler Boyd. But I still think we give the Steelers just a slight edge. We go Bengals number 2. We go Steelers number 1. And even with Martavis Bryant not there, the Steelers have a lot to play with.
Yeah, the Steelers have a lot to play with. I mean, anybody that you think about on their perimeter, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell being able to be a factor. They bring in Ladarius Green from the San Diego Chargers. A lot of weapons, and we know Big Ben will distribute it all to all the weapons available on the perimeter. They're explosive, probably one of the more explosive offense that we've seen in the football.
Ladarius Green at tight end, and then also having some depth there in the backfield. D'Angelo Williams can kind of be that number 2 guy, can fill in for Lev Bell while he's out. I like that combination, but trust me, I know Bengal fans are not going to agree with that assessment. Bucky, all right, let's go offensive line, number 4. Again, Baltimore Ravens got a rookie left tackle. I think he's got a chance to be a good player. There's some unknown there with him, though. We've seen some young offensive linemen struggle in that first year. I think Marshall Yonda's a stud, but I still think when you stack him up inside this division, some pretty good offensive lines, they come at 4.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, their offensive line has been much maligned, done a better job in recent years of protecting Big Ben, but it still goes as they go. They got to be able to win the line of scrimmage control trench.
Browns with Joe Thomas there at number 2. I like Joe Thomas, Batonio, and we'll see how Cam Irving does at center. And then we also look there at number 1. Again, Cincinnati Bengals. This is a very, very good offensive line, one of the top 3 or 4 in the league.
A very veteran, experienced offensive line. They've done a great job of stockpiling top picks to make sure they always have the protection in front of Andy Dalton. I think we've seen that play out on the field.
All right, let's roll over to the defensive side here. We'll mix in some coaching. We start at the front 7. The Cleveland Browns have a lot of young players, got some rookies they're going to need to step up. But I still think them, when you stack them in the division, they come in at number 4.
Yeah, they come in at number 4. They're a team that is certainly trying to improve the talent, but I look at the other teams and I think they're far ahead of them. The Baltimore Ravens are 3. I just believe that when you look at the Ravens, they continue to draft well. They have a lot of talented pieces.
Got some injured guys.
Play better, but their young pieces are very, very intriguing to me. C.J. Mosley, the guy that stands out to me. We have Brandon Williams. You also think about Tim Jernigan being inside. They have some nice weapons to build around. Got to get that secondary right.
Yeah, don't sleep on Camelot Correa either. The rookie out of Boise State can play inside, can play outside. Pittsburgh Steelers come in at number 2. I love what they have at inside linebacker. They stay healthy there. That's a dynamic pair when you talk about Timmons and you talk about Shazier. They were number 2. And then the Bengals, man, this is a loaded roster, Bucky. It's kind of a theme, offense and defense. I still think they're front 7. They come in at number 1.
Part of the reason the Bengals have been able to go to the playoffs for 5 straight years is because they can control the trenches on both sides of the ball. The defensive line led by Geno Atkins allows them to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage, makes it tough for the offense to move.
A lot of size out there on the edges, too, coming off the edge. All right, let's go to the secondary, Bucky. The Pittsburgh Steelers, this has been kind of an Achilles heel for them. By the way, my Achilles is doing great. Thanks for asking.
Great.
They come in at number 4, and then at number 3, the Cleveland Browns. Joe Hayden needs to bounce back and have a better year. They lost Gibson, the free safety, in the offseason. I still think they're kind of in that number 3 spot. And then 2-1 is a little bit of a debate there. Look, the Baltimore Ravens, I like what they have in Jimmy Smith, Buck. I think Eric Weddle's going to be a nice addition for them.
Nice addition.
Don't sleep on him.
Hashes, absolutely.
But we still agree. Number 1 in this division, in the secondary, it's got to be Cincinnati.
It has to be Cincinnati. Well-coached, a team that plays together, they play on the string. Adam Pac-Man-Jones has really kind of reemerged and revived his career. He's been a guy that's been solid on the edges. They're young guys. Darqueze Dennard has to step up and play and be a major factor. I think he'd be ready. Drake Kirkpatrick, too.
Yeah, no question. All right, let's move. Last one here, the coaching. And this is where we had some disagreement. It didn't get physical, but there was some.
It got a little heated?
Yeah, the voices got raised, got a little bit intense here. Let's start at number 4. That's Hugh Jackson. He's got to prove himself. A lot of expectation there in Cleveland. We think he'll eventually do a nice job there, but he's clearly number 4. The debate, Bucky, between number 2 and number 3, and I ended up giving you your guy here.
Yeah.
So we ended up with Baltimore at 3, and we ended up with the Bengals at 2. I thought it should be reversed, but that's the way we ended up going.
Well, I understand, like, John Harbaugh has won a Super Bowl, so that certainly gives him an added piece of hardware that Marvin Lewis doesn't have as a head coach. However, the last 2 years, they've really, really struggled. I look at the consistent success that the Cincinnati Bengals have had. I know they haven't won a playoff game, but they've been to 5 straight playoffs. They have owned the division 2 of those 5 times. I believe they're beginning to kind of turn the corner. And last year, I know it ended in a debacle, but they kind of smacked the Pittsburgh Steelers around in that playoff game. I think they're ready, have to get their guys under control. But because of the consistent success, I'm going to put him at number 2.
You know what Marvin Lewis and producer TD have in common, don't you?
What do they have in common?
They have the same number of playoff wins. John Harbaugh has 10 playoff wins. That's why I disagree with you there. He's got a Super Bowl win. He's been to championship games. Look, they had some health issues last year in Baltimore outside of his control. I still think he deserves to be a little bit higher, but Marvin Lewis has done a nice job consistently getting that team into the postseason. One thing we didn't argue about, we put Mike Tomlin there at the top at number 1 on this list.
Yeah, ultra cool competitor, a guy that kind of he really embodies what the Pittsburgh Steelers are. He's tough, he's physical, he loves to talk a little bit, and his guys take on the personality. We've seen them win a lot of games just because they bully other people. I think Mike Tomlin encourages that and then did a good job of being able to be competitive in the AFC North.
All right, we haven't seen the compilation of these numbers yet here, so we don't know how this turns out. That's what we think of these individual groups. So let's take a peek at it here. On the offensive rankings, remember, this is golf, low-score wins. The Pittsburgh Steelers, we think, have the best offensive personnel. They come in at the very top of our list. You look at the Baltimore Ravens down there at 4, Bengals, Browns in 2-3 spots. All right, let's look at the defensive side here as well as the coaching and see what that looks like. Now it flips. And again, low score, 4 is a pretty good number there for the Bengals.
Very good number. I think what you see is why the Bengals and Steelers always appear to be competing for that AFC crown, the AFC North crown at the end of the year. These are 2 very talented rosters, guys that are well coached, and ultimately it always comes down to one of those games at the end of the year between them to decide who is ultimately the champion.
All right, let's mash them together. Let's see what the tally is here. Who is the most talented team according to our Move the Sticks scouting index?
Team with the best coach.
There you go. Look at that. The Cincinnati Bengals. Probably, look, that 1 point, they would have been tied, right? You take one away from them? No, actually, it was Baltimore. It wasn't the Steelers. But the Bengals end up with the low score. We believe they are the most talented team in the division. And, Bucky, I know, man, I look at that division. I think I'm leaning more towards Pittsburgh. But when you look at the pure talent, based on what we're seeing here, the Cincinnati Bengals have the edge.
I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are the favorite based on Mike Tomlin and that offense being so superior. I'm going to go with them over the Bengals when it comes to the predictions.
All right, again, though, Bucky, that's what we think.
Now, what do you think? Make sure you leave a comment. Leave it below. Let us know what you think. We want to hear from you.
Be on the lookout for all of our divisional previews here on Move the Sticks.